Some more. Anything more? More?
Sir, we derived the pressure losses for different types of test sections.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm. Different type of test section or different types of cross sections? Why? What is the necessity in going for a different? Yes. Yeah. Why? What is the necessity in going for a different cross sections? Different types of cross sections.
For different purposes, like yesterday we saw elliptical cross section for aircraft model like that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's only for we have discussed only for the cross section. We are going to use it only for the your cylindrical, elliptical, or rectangular cross section. Only for the test section we looked at that, or something else also we can apply that. Any idea? Yes, sir. Please. Please open your mouth, sir. There is no point in discussing further. Some more, some more. You started with a good note. See, we looked at that losses for the diffuser, losses for the cylindrical parts, okay. Even the contraction cone also we looked at that. Is it so? Yes or no, sir? Yes or no? Okay. Anyway, see, in the last class, what did we see that? Okay, if you look at that, your tunnel, for example, okay, if you have a divergent portion, I didn't finish it fully, but anyway, I'll come back to that little later. Okay, so this is what the one. This is a general cross section. So we talked about that how your the losses and all. How are you going to cut down in the case of your this one? So this is going to be your settling chamber. This is your contraction cone or a effuser. This is your effuser and effuser or a contraction cone. This is your test section and this is your wire mesh. Sorry, your honeycomb section. Okay. So everything this is going to be part of that. Okay, your settling chamber, and this is your diffuser part of it. கொஞ்சம் எனக்கு கிளாஸ்ல இருக்கேன் நான் 3 o'clock. Okay. Okay. So now what are we going to do is, okay, your flow, if you look at that, okay, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So there is, I got a call, so okay. So what are we going to do is, okay, in the last class, what are the possible losses, pressure losses in the variable components, okay, various components, and also our variable cross section. Normally, okay, as you mentioned, okay, in the test section shape is going to be your cylindrical or elliptical or rectangular, okay. So these cross section, okay, depending on the flow condition, here a converging section, here diverging section, okay, what are the possible, that we have discussed that based on the your coefficient, the loss coefficient that we are going to calculate, and we are going to sum it up together, and whatever the design you have for that, what is the possible losses, and these are the flow qualities you are going to get it in the your test section velocity. So we are going to look for the particular test section velocity, what are the possible your loss coefficient, and accordingly the correction you can apply. Because whatever the design you are going to do, whatever the fabrication you are going to do, for that there will be losses is going to be there. But every component there is going to associated with a certain losses inherently. So automatically you can estimate that, okay, for that particular your test section velocity you can relate it, okay. That's what the one we have seen in that your last class, essence of the last class. So now if you look at that your low speed wind tunnels, okay, if you look at if you see that, okay, I'm going to take a hardware anemometer. So if I measure my velocity, instantaneous velocity, okay, for example, u component, that is your x velocity with respect to time, it's not going to be a straight line, whatever the one you are going to fix it in the your u beta static u. It's going to be an oscillations kind of thing. So what we used to say that, okay, the u of t as a your mean velocity plus u dash of t. The oscillations component is going to be that. So this is going to talk about the non-uniformity in the flow. So basically what will happen, okay, mean velocity may not over a cross section, even if you look at that your spatial, let us take your contraction cone alone. If I have your contraction cone, if we have it, if I am going to measure spatially from top to bottom, I'm not going to get a uniform velocity. But you can do that, but there will be a possible losses, because what will happen if you are going to give a small inclination in the your settling chamber alone, that itself going to protection losses. If you are going to do, that's going to immediately give rise to this one, okay. And other than that, okay, your swill, that is whatever the possible irregularity in the this one, your spatial non-uniformity, okay. Second thing is your swill. In the swill, okay, about an axis, it's going to have a rotation is going to be there. Now, whatever the incoming, okay, for example, in the particular situation, for example, let us take our lab condition. In the lab condition, if you are going to, whatever the air that is entering through our door, okay, if it is going to have a subjected to a rotation, an axis rotation, so automatically that's going to reflect in the test section. If you want to reduce that, automatically what will happen? So we are going to use as flow straightness honeycombs, and that's going to reduce. That's the purpose of your honeycomb section. So these are the possible irregularities. How are we going to control that? That's for that. And other thing is, okay, even if I am going to have a honeycomb section, a low frequency pulsation. Okay, so basically it's very difficult to locate the such a source of pulsation. Okay, so that is also one thing. Another thing is your turbulence. So basically turbulence means whatever the way earlier you have seen that, okay, your u of t, your mean velocity comes u dash of t. So this generates a small eddies of varying size and intensity, results in time variation of the velocity. That's what is going to happen. This is for a x component alone. So the turbulence may be defined in irregular fluctuation of velocity superimposed on the mean flow. For example, this is a mean flow. Okay, about the mean flow, how much it's going to be oscillating. That's what we are going to see. We are even coming classes, we are going to see that how are we going to measure the turbulence in the tunnel, your test section, your turbulence sphere, even your hardware anemometer also you can measure that. Okay, we will come back to that. Okay, we will see that one. Your pressure sphere, turbulence sphere, those things will be used for measuring your turbulence level. Even you can reduce the turbulence, okay, and you recreate the turbulence for the required amount. That's what we used to do in the tunnels and all. And see here, okay, the RMS values are going to be, for example, you can't simply keep it as a u dash. Okay, so what we will do is, okay, we are going to take a square and root of that one. So that's what we used to do that. And next is how are we going to reduce the turbulence? Already we have discussed that we use the wire meshes. Okay, for reducing the turbulence, and the mesh size is going to be varied. Okay, that is also functions are there. Okay, how your mesh size functions are going to be, screen mesh size function size are going to be related to your turbulence level. And they are going to be, where are they going to keep it? They are going to keep far upstream of the test section. Keep in mind that where are they going to keep your wire mesh. For example, if you have a fuser, okay, so normally at the exit of your settling chamber, they try to fix your wire mesh screen. So okay, metal or nylon or a polyester mesh they used as your wire mesh. With use of screens, okay, you can cut down large eddies that's going to be broken into smaller one. And if you are going to have a broken into smaller one, they are going to decay very easily. Okay, so they if you are going to use a single screen, the reduction in turbulent density will be less. So if you want to have reduce the turbulent density completely, means as much as possible, you need to go for a multiple screen. But another thing you keep in mind that the moment if you are going to put a mesh screen, more number of screens, automatically there will be a drop in pressure drop, that loss coefficient will be there. That also you have to properly estimate, and that much amount of velocity and all will be there for that in the test section. That you have to relate it. Okay, that's what we have seen that earlier also. Your pressure loss coefficient for a multiple screens and all. Another thing is, okay, the scale of eddies depends on either that is flow Reynolds number, and also the flow Reynolds number also it's going to be based on the wire diameter, because rho Vd by mu. So whatever the flow, okay, when the Reynolds number, if it is less than 40, okay, so eddies are practically absent. Okay, and one of the important factor for keeping the screen at the far, okay, if you want, why you want to have a near at the end of your settling chamber or far away from your test section. The reason is here, sometimes the velocity is going to be very, very smaller in this region. That's why we call it as a settling chamber. So afterwards only your flow is going to be accelerated. It's going to reach the test section velocity. So if the velocity is less, automatically your rho Vd by mu also going to be less. Okay, so that's why we are keeping the, so your loss will be less. Okay, Reynolds number will be least. So the effect of screen on the your turbulence depends on the K value. So that is pressure drop coefficient P1 minus P2. That is P1 P2. It's going to be pressure value of the pressure upstream and downstream of the your screen. Okay, that is your K value. And already we have seen that, okay, your beta, normally we used to have that for measuring the wire mesh value, that is 1 by 1 minus d by L. D is the wire diameter and L is the space between the your this one. L is the space between the two wires. Okay, so these are the your, okay, as per according to Bradshaw, because he did a lot, when the K value, whatever the K value you have, okay, here P2 P1 minus P2 divided by half rho V square P1 square. So if your K value is something close to 2, the turbulence is going to be absent. Same way other studies also, okay, it's they are they are also telling your K is going to be equal to 0, sorry 2, your turbulence is going to be non-uniformity in the by the screen is going to be removed. But again, if the K, if you are going to increase beyond 2, your intensity is going to more. So I mentioned earlier, okay, your honeycomb sections, what are the shapes? Okay, circular shape, square shape, and your hexagon. Okay, so honeycombs are effective in removing the swell and lateral mean fluctuation, and the incidental effect is, okay, that's going to reduce the your turbulence level. In order to restrain the boundary layer thickness and transition to turbulent layer, the cell length usually kept it to 5 to 10 times the cell dimension. Keep in mind that. So these, whatever the length that you are talking about, that here, okay, the L, that's going to be 5 to 10 times the your cell dimension, cell diameter or a cell width. Okay, so these numbers are very, very important for keeping the, okay, this one, even your object type questions and all these kind of questions will be there. Please keep in mind that. And wind tunnel contraction cone, okay, it's going to, what is the purpose of that? Your effuser wind tunnel contraction zone is going to be your effuser here. So the effusers basically, we have to consider that, okay, your wire mesh is going to be placed at the, already we have seen that, okay, for having a low velocity at the zone where you have a low velocity, you have to place your wire screen. Okay, so reduces both mean and fluctuating velocity variation in small fraction average velocity. So here the contraction cone, the contraction ratio N is going to be very, very important. The N they are going to calculate this way. So there is a way, okay. The N value is nothing but, okay, your A1 by A2. A1 is your capital area at the section 1, area at the section 2. Area at the section 1 is intake to your effuser, that is at the end of your settling chamber. A2 is the entry to your test section. So here the fractional velocity change in the your at the section 1, fractional velocity change in the section 2. Okay, so that we can relate it to the your contraction code. So what is happening in the case of a diffuser? Already we know that basically converting your kinetic energy of the flow to a pressure energy. We have seen that a well designed designed diffuser efficiently, okay, in subsonic wind tunnel, the diffuser diverging passage with a semi divergence angle 7.5 to 8 degree. Keep in mind that this is your Bernoulli's equation, okay. 7.5 to 8 degree. The pressure gradient in the subsonic diverging passage is adverse and it's difficult to avoid boundary layer thickening and the flow separation. So what will happen? Your the adverse pressure gradient, okay? Your pressure is going to increase faster. So we have to very difficult to avoid the boundary layer thickening and the flow separations. Because of that, your dp by dx is going to be increases very faster. So because of that, they try to have that angle, the divergence angle, they will try to have as small as possible. The semi angle is 7.5 to 8. Okay, they'll try to keep as small as possible. The moment if they are going to reduce as small as possible, your length is going to length of the diffuser for a particular diffusion ratio for a particular conversion of your kinetic energy to pressure energy is going to be L also going to increase more. So that's also a matter over there. So we have to choose effective angle. The effective angle is going to be something close to 7.5 to 8 degree. So these are the your possible. If you have after the test section, if you have a portion like that without any diffuser, what is the possible pressure loss afterwards? And if you have a like a dump combustor kind of thing, how your static pressure, how your dynamic pressure it's going to be. So here also total pressure loss, here also total pressure loss. And at the same time, if you have a diverging passage, the reduction in total pressure is going to be very limited. So the pressure recovery, we are relating it with your diffuser efficiency. Okay, so you can see that diffuser efficiency times this one. Yes, sir. Any questions are here? Any question here? In this lecture, I mentioned about your L by D, that is length to your honeycomb section dimension 5 to 10. That number you keep in mind. Same way, your diverging angle also you keep in mind. So these questions and all, it's very common in the objective type. Okay, so please keep in mind that those numbers and all. Any ideas, sir, further? Any question?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll go ahead for the next. Okay. So until now, we looked at that for how a settling chamber, okay, how the honeycomb section is going to be there. Where are you going to place your wire mesh screen? And because of the wire mesh screen, how it is going to be there? Why do you want to create the wire mesh in the far away from the test section? Why do you want to keep it in the low velocity region? Okay, and also what is happening in the your spatial discontinuity irregularities, as well as your swell. How are you going to cut down with the help of your these irregularities, flow, swell irregularities and all with the help of a honeycomb? Even if it is a spatial irregularity, how are you going to correct it? So that's what we have seen in the case of your your contraction cone, your contraction ratio with respect to your small a1 a2, that is your change in your velocity divided by velocity, that is small a. Okay, and what is the possible long angle for the your diffuser and all, we looked at that. So now we will go into the your test section. What is the flow quality you are going to expect? What are you expecting in the your test section, sir? Any idea? Even you can see from this slide and you can comment on that, please. Quick, sir. Today I am going to give an intro about that. Okay, some of the devices and all I will mention here because that's going to be useful for your exam. How I am going to calibrate the your tunnels and all, I am going to talk about that. So we will stop that here, and until this point we will keep it for your examination. Quick, sir. What is the purpose of the test section here, sir? What are you going to do in the test section? See, the purpose of the wind tunnel is we are going to simulate the real-time flow situation. Is it right? Real-time?
Yes, sir.
Real-time flow characteristics. Okay, we are going to generate in the real-time flow characteristic. You are going to fix the model, and you are going to see the what will be the possible your forces and all. Using a dynamic similarity, you are going to convert it back. Dynamic similarity and your geometric similarity, you are going to do that. But in the case of your test section, it's very difficult to create a real-time flow situation. It's very difficult to create a real-time flow situation in the your test section. The reason is in the real-time flow situation, the flow is going to be unbounded, means there is no wall. But in the case of a test section, your wall is going, your test section is going to be bounded by the wall. So it's very difficult to create. And also, if you look at that, your what are we going to do in the real-time situation? Your air is going to have a certain velocity, okay, because of the wind speed, but your model is going to move. But in the real situation, what are we going to do? Sorry, in the wind tunnel, what are we going to do? We are going to keep the model stationary. We are going to allow the air to pass through that. So now, what is going to happen if you are going to have a wall? Okay. So automatically there will be a boundary layer. Okay. So produces lateral flow boundaries at the finite distance from the model, so which yield several effects on the your flow. Okay. So one is, okay, there is a variation in static pressure along the your test section. There is no model presence, even in the model also if it is not there. In many wind tunnels, normally if you want to achieve a desired condition, the variation in static pressure along the test section should be 0. That is your constant. That's what you are expecting. So if there is a variation, what will happen? That's also going to contribute for your drag production. Okay. So that's what we are going to measure it with your horizontal buoyancy. We will discuss more about the horizontal buoyancy, okay, in the coming classes. Okay. So I need to stop this one here, but I need to add some more things for your exam preparation. Okay, so 1 minute. Please note it down. Okay. One is, okay, what are the flow in the case of your calibration? What are the possible, what are the flow measurement instruments we are going to use? Or what are the flow measurement we used to do? Okay. One is, as we mentioned earlier, whether is there any spatial irregularities in the section. That is mainly in the test section. So we measure your velocity. So for which one we are going to use? Pitot static tube. Second thing is, okay, your pitot static tube for that's going to measure the dynamic pressure also. You can measure dynamic pressure. Even with one lead, you can measure a total pressure, total or a stagnation pressure, or stagnation pressure, and third one is your static pressure. These three things we can measure with the help of a pitot tube. And another thing is, okay, if there is any flow angularity, that we are going to measure with a yaw sphere or claw type claw meter. So in the case of how we are going to measure that, okay, we are going to have in the yaw sphere, we are going to have a centerline hole, and also 45 degree another one more hole will be there, another 45 degree another hole will be there. So you are going to measure your PA, PB and your P0. If PA is equal to PB, there is no flow angularity. PA is equal to PB, no flow angularity. Depending on the difference between PA and PB, your flow angularity is going to be there. Depending on the PA and PB, the flow angularity is going to be there. And your P0 is your stagnation pressure. In the case of a claw meter, what will happen? We are going to have a 45 degree tube will be, they are going to have, okay. So if you are going to put the flow, same way, your A, your B, we are going to see your PA and PB. Based on that, you are going to measure your flow angularity. So using this flow angularity, we can measure yaw as well as pitch. Yaw and pitch of that. And also we used to measure your wall boundary layer thickness. Okay, so if it is a wall, okay, there will be a boundary layer thickness. We'll try to have as much as small as possible. How much amount of blockage and all we can decide based on that blockage basically. So solid blockage, your weak blockage and all, we'll be looking at that. Accordingly, we will choose the model size. So if you want to measure the boundary layer thickness, we will have a boundary layer probe, a very thin total probe. Okay. and using that we will be measuring the boundary layer thickness. Here we are going to measure only the your P naught. P static, we are going to whatever the edge of the boundary layer, if it is whatever the P static value, that is going to be taken as whatever the P stat, this one. The reason is, you might have studied in your aerodynamics course, your Y momentum equation, if you look at that, dou P by dou Y is going to be 0. That means your P is going to be constant at Y, particular Y, sorry, along the Y for a particular X. Particular X location, if you are going to vary, your P is going to be constant. So whatever the particular X location, undisturbed seam, whatever the static pressure, we are going to take it, and we are going to measure only the P naught. We are going to have that your this one, your velocity profile within the boundary layer. From that, we are going to see the thickness of the boundary layer in the test section. So where 0.99 times U infinity. Okay. That's all I want to say here. So until this point, you need to prepare for your examinations. Okay. If you need any clarification, means if you want any text for preparing for your this course, refer instrumentation measurement and experiments in fluids by Radhakrishnan book. Okay, you can get that book. Okay, you can get a hard copy of that book. So if you don't have any issues, or otherwise you can buy the same book from the any questions, sir?